Welcome to the Heartwork podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sarah.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in. Y'all, we are so excited to come on today because we have some updates and we have some news and some beautiful heart exploration to really share, which I think will really speak to a lot of you guys, especially if you're in seasons where you are pushing, and also at the same time, the universe gives you these huge, beautiful signs to say, hey, it's time to really just take stock and take opportunity to know what's going on around you. And I know this to be true for myself because I've experienced it myself when our physical body all of a sudden does something that doesn't necessarily always align with where we want our life to be going at the same time. So my beautiful co-host, Marisa, had an unfortunate incident that has led to a lot of just now continued heart discovery. So, and I will add in as we get going, but I would love to kind of hear. So what's happened? What's going on? What's your heart navigating really in the past 2 weeks? Kind of crazy. What can happen in literally a matter of 2 weeks?
Yes, exactly. Especially so unexpected. My dad and his wife, Dana, my stepmom came to visit. Literally, today, it would have been 2 weeks ago. What a great Friday. They came in Thursday night. We had dinner. We listened to live music. It was so good to have my dad in town. And then Friday, we had a wonderful day. Dana and I spent it out in LeClaire. My dad and Alex, they went golfing together at this fun little golf course around here. And then Saturday, we had plans to go to a local town called Galena, which is just a fun place people like to go. It's cute, quaint. You can walk little boutique shops, lots of restaurants, lots of wineries, breweries, things. And so it was also the weekend of Palmer Homecoming here. And I had a couple friends and colleagues in town and they wanted to meet up. And so I was like, well, let's go super early if you have the capacity on Saturday morning because I want to spend as much time with my family as possible. And my dad and Dana were like, well, yeah, no, just go and take your time. Alex was going to go to the gym. I'm like, well, I want to get home by 8:30 so that way I can be around you guys when you wake up and we can do breakfast or whatever. And they're like, no. We're going to sleep in. We're just going to take our time. Go get a workout in. Go do your thing. Come back when you're done. So I met up with my two friends. I finished up talking with one of them at it was 8:15, 8:20. And there were multiple signs. So one, I was also in the process of reviewing the finalized form of my contract that I was going to send to a potential another associate. And I was like, ooh, I brought my computer thinking if I got done with these chats early, then I can just do a little bit of work at the coffee shop. And the one friend that was leaving, she was like, are you staying? And I was like, well, it's 8:15, 20. I was like, no, I'm probably going to go and get a workout in. And it's not very far from this coffee shop that I was at. But my first sign should have been the fact that when I went onto the highway, I passed the exit for the gym. And I kept going. And I was like, fuck, I'm on autopilot. I was up at 5:30 this morning to get to 6 o'clock coffee meeting. I'm on one. Then I was trying to re-navigate to the gym. I was like, damn it, I'm going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. And that's I don't prefer to do that. Even though I'm quite late all the time. And so I did, I had to do a turnaround. I got to the gym. That should have been my first sign that the universe just took me past the gym in the first place. And then I got there. I was warming up. My one friend, Becca, was there. And so we were partnering up. And the workout wasn't anything crazy. It was alternating rounds, essentially, in a way of wall balls, box jumps, a dumbbell movement, and then rowing in between. So it was 6 minutes of really short, quick reps, 6 wall balls, 6 box jumps, 6 dumbbells, and then 6 minutes of rowing. And I warmed up. I did the whole thing, and I got to doing box jumps, and I was in my head, wow, your left Achilles feels so tight right now. That's weird. And so I would do my, like, 6 jumps, but then Becca would do the jumps the next round. So I, like, would go a period of time, and you were only working for 6 minutes, but I would get to the box, and I'd be like, "Ooh, like, she's tight." And I don't have a history of left Achilles tightness. Like, I've never had tendinopathy, tinnitus, none of that. And, in my brain, I was like, "This is this is really tight. This is how people tear their Achilles. Like, they jump and they tear it, and it's not good." And I've had 2 other friends close to me that have torn their Achilles. And I was like, "This is how they did it. Like, you need to you probably should stop. If you don't stop, like, you're gonna tear your Achilles." 4 different times. 4 different times in my brain because we did 8 rounds between the 2 of us in that 6 minutes. So I got to do box jumps 4 times. It was 6 reps. It was so quick and easy. I have been box jumping for the last, 14 years. In fact, when I started CrossFit, the box jumps you would jump on the box and then you would ping, like you would rebound off the box into the air to open your hips and then fall to the ground and immediately bounce back up. So, they called me the gazelle of box jumps. Like, I was a box jump queen. So, and even with these, they were box jump overs. So, you would jump onto the box and then you would turn and jump off the box the other way. So it wasn't even like it was really that fast, but I am fast at box jumps. And so we're getting to the rowing, and I was like, okay, well, rowing is so much flexion extension. So, if my Achilles feels tight trying to, press down for the row using my feet, then, I won't box jump next time. I'll just step up. But I felt great on the rower. And so when we started the next round, I think I went up the box, over, and then it was on that jump. I all of a sudden heard it pop. I obviously missed the box. I hit my right shin against it, so my right shin's crying. I had grabbed my left ankle with my left hand and was just holding it, and I was on the box kind of sitting now, and I looked at Alex and I looked at our coach and I just said, "I just tore my Achilles." I just knew in my brain because 1, the downloads were already present and telling me, if you freaking keep doing this, you are going to tear your Achilles. And then 2, the pop, classic sign, knew it. It was done, gone. And so then because of my EMT and also medical background, I could start to feel myself sweat because I think too, when you're in this field, you know too much. You know, what actually happening in your body. And I'm like, oh my God, my calf is either a ball or it's shredded in the tendon. It's either a full tear or partial tear. I could have pulled bone off of my heel. Then I'm getting hot in my belly, but I know what's going on consciously. So I'm like, you're going into shock right now. And Alex came over. He's like, let me touch it. Let me look at it. And I'm like, no, I can't let go. I can't let go. And I'm like, I'm either going to shit my pants or puke my brains out. So you need to take me to the bathroom. And so he picks me up and he carries me to the bathroom. And this poor freaking bathroom is the hottest place in the gym. And so I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to vomit, what's going to happen. And then he's like, we just need to get you up and out of here. I was very lucky. We had a very close friend at Alex's at the gym who is a PT. And so he was checking in, yada, yada. People were knocking on the doors are you guys okay? Do you need anything? And Alex was like, let's just get up. We need to just get up. Let's just go. And we'll go to the emergency, whatever. I was like, because I was like, you got to take me to urgent care. ORA is an orthopedic specialist out here. So I was like, you need to take me to the urgent care. And then I'm trying to start getting up and I'm like, Alex, I'm about to pass out. I'm going to pass out. I know that I'm literally going into shock right now. And lo and behold, I passed out. But he was prepared because I let him know it was coming. And he had a towel wrapped up under my head. I was laying on the ground. I had this weird dream for a moment. There were just a lot of people standing around me. It was very eerie and odd. And I was very connected because of all the downloads. And I finally came to and I was like, how long was I gone? I was like, about 30, 45 seconds. I was like, okay. He's like, I need to get you the F out of here, right now. Because now he's also what a king. But he was also, you don't know what to do, right? He's never had to be in that situation before. And so I got up and he carried me out or I think actually he made me flip over because Jake, the PT, kind of came in and did you can do a test where you squeeze the calf muscle, and if the foot flexes, okay, cool, your Achilles tendon is attached. But if it doesn't flex, Like, you're pretty much on a full tear, and I had 0 movement, 0. Like, my foot was just dead and hanging there, and I was like, "This is cool." Like, in my brain, I'm like, "This is not real life. It's not. It's not real life right now." But then I was like, "It's so real life right now." And then I'm like, "My dad." Then I'm like, "We can't go to Galena." And Alex is just, like, carrying me like a wounded little bird, like that meme, "I'll take care of you, little birdie." Just, like, walking to the heart. And I again, so blessed with people in our community that we know. Jake had called the orthopedic place and was able to like get us in for an appointment. And even the doctor that he has a closer relationship with that does a lot of the sports repairs and stuff, he had contacted him and he ended up coming in to see me on his day off. Like it was such a remarkable experience. So anyone that is local to the Quad Cities, ORA, their Bettendorf location was amazing, and Dr. Suleiman Hussein, who did my repair, is great, and Jake should be the guy you should go to for PT. So just a little shameless plug on that one there because they really have been remarkable through this whole process. And so they put me in a boot and they're like, "Yeah, pretty sure you have a full tear, but we don't know exactly where it is. You're going to want to get surgery because you're a young, healthy athlete, and that is going to be the best chance for you to have like recovery and kind of go back to being able to do what you love to do in the best way possible." They gave me some prep work. They gave me a bunch of medications and then sent me off and said, "We're probably going to get the MRI scheduled soon and then surgery scheduled after that." And so I left Saturday afternoon. I was so incredibly nauseous, I think, just from that like sympathetic storm of my nervous system just being on such overdrive.
Mhm.
I could barely look at my phone. I could barely talk. The one person I called was my associate doc, Dr. Cheyenne. I was like, so this just happened and I'm probably not going to do anything for 2 weeks. So like they're thinking maybe surgery in the next couple days. Like, I don't know. It's not your responsibility. She's part-time. So I was like, it's not your responsibility to need to cover full-time for me. But do you have the capacity before I either close those days or
Mhm.
like try and get a different doctor to come in? And she's like, "No, no, no. Like, we got this. We'll figure it out. Let me do some recon." And she texts me later, like, "I'm good for the next 2 weeks. We're covered. I'm great." Cause she has a daughter. And so, there's just a different level of navigation around things. So, that just kind of put like a whew in my heart. And Alex had called my dad and stuff. And so he was like, "No, we'll hang here." Cause they were stranded. My car was still at the gym. Like it was a whole thing. But we were really blessed. They went and got my car. So by the time we got home, they were there. And that day it was just like, you got to elevate it, ice it, and call it good. And we just hung out on the couch all day. And I just processed what the hell just happened. And we did end up like going to dinner that night because you're in this place where like something big and traumatic happens to you and your body, but you're still just
Mhm.
like you, and you still just want to like do what you're like normally doing for some sense of like control and normalcy. And so like we went to dinner, which was probably the stupidest idea ever. Like they had to bring another chair. I was uncomfortable. I have a boot. I'm like sitting at a nice restaurant with like my leg up. Like it's just not classy and cute. Like it's just so funky. Like so weird. And I mean, you heard the crutches like when I was coming in there so before we were recording. Like they're just so like it's such a so beyond like how I would experience like life typically on the regular. And just I ended up getting the MRI on Tuesday, and then I had a follow-up appointment on Wednesday, and they scheduled surgery for Friday. And,
Mhm.
Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday a little bit, I'm so lucky because it's my left foot, so, like, I can still drive with my right foot, and so I took myself to the office because I was like, "Well, I'm either gonna sit at home doing nothing, or I could sit there and, like, do stuff that I haven't been able to do for forever that's on my, like, CEO task and feel some semblance of normal rhythm," which was also probably stupid, but, I did get some, like, good things done, but I was like it was almost in the sense of, like, okay, the Achilles was torn and it was like kind of just dead and hanging there, but the boot was fine. I didn't really feel anything. I didn't take any pain meds during that time. The only thing they had me taking was like an anti-inflammatory and an anti-bleeding to help with like pre-surgical prep. So it's kind of weird. Like the tendon was frayed and it ended up being a full tear in the midsection. So it wasn't at the muscle, and I didn't avulse anything off the bone. That was the first thing that they did on Saturday, was take an x-ray of it just to make sure that there wasn't any actual like bone damage. And so other than having to hobble with my crutches, and I used a scooter that my friend brought me, like I felt kind of normal. And then it was Wednesday when I went in to get the results of the MRI, and they were talking me through stuff and what they were going to do with surgery. And I have the background, so I'm asking all these different questions and wanting to know exactly what it's going to look like, what they're doing. And he was using this like new system where essentially they would make the incision, they would put this like device onto the top of the Achilles, thread stitches like this fiber tape through it. And then same thing with the bottom half that was torn off, thread like this fiber tape through it, then stitch it together at the frayed end, pull the tendons together. And then he was going to take this bone dissolving screw and anchor that fiber tape into the screw, and then anchor the screw into my heel. That way it helps you ambulate faster, because instead of your calf muscles tension being put on the weak tendon that's needing to heal and strengthen again and reform, because tendons regrow, it's at least anchored to my bone, so that way it takes pressure off of the weakness of the tendon while it grows. The tendon will grow around the fiber tape. The fiber tape just stays in there forever. And then the bone screw will end up just dissolving away. And so they were like sharing all this with me, and I was like, okay, cool. And then they said, we don't know when you're going to get surgery on Friday. We'll call you on Thursday and tell you. And it's like, all right. And then they gave me all this instructions. And they're just typical instructions. Like, I know this, like you can't have nail polish on your fingers or toes because they need to use like pulse ox and check to make sure that you have like blood flow in different areas. And there's all this information around like how to prep and shower with this antibacterial soap or antimicrobial, and like clean, bed sheets, don't sleep with your dog, clean hair, like just all this stuff. And so on Thursday, I wake up and I'm like, cool, I'm going to get surgery tomorrow. I have not been under anesthesia since I was like 17, and I got a couple wisdom teeth taken out. So like years ago. And I get up slow and I do my thing. I go to the nail salon because I have gel manicure and a gel pedicure on my toes from like all of our travels the last 4 weeks. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, they see me hobble in. And I'm like, I need to just get the nail polish removed. They're like, you want a manicure? What new? I was like, nope, I need surgery tomorrow, so I'm just going to get it removed. And you're like watching them like take off like this cutely curated nail polish color off your toes, and your toes look like naked little mole rats. And then they're taking it off your fingers, and you're looking at your fingers. Like, I haven't had nail polish not on my fingers for a long time. And so I'm like looking at them, and you look raw. Like you look just like you. And that's when it first started to like get me, the sense of like, you're literally prepping your body to go lay on a cold table and get cut into and get fixed because something's broken. And so for the next like little bit and period of time of like grabbing a couple things at a store or trying to drop off a return item at the post office because I'm still trying to be a superwoman and I can like carry it in my crutch, and then people are really kind. That was one thing that I did learn so much, is how kind people are in like seeing someone in need and like helping them carry something or open the door or bring something out. It was just so sweet. But I broke down like 3 different times after the nail polish thing, thinking like about laying down and being put under and then having a nerve block so I can't feel anything in my leg. And then they have to put a tube down my throat and tape it to my mouth. And they have to then flip me over on my stomach because how are they going to operate on my leg if I'm face up? So then what? Is my face going to be to the left side or the right side? Am I going to look straight down? Like, what does that actually entail and look like? I've watched shoulder surgeries before. I've been in the OR room for ACL repairs. Those are all face up. So I don't have any context for what an Achilles like looks like. And I get to the office and I'm just having a moment with myself in the car, feeling just so vulnerable in that moment. And I walk into the office just because it's now Thursday. I'm going to be getting surgery. So I have no idea if I'll be obviously in and around the next week. And I just walk in and my team sees it like on my face. And they kind of just walked with me to the front office and they had a like bouquet of flowers and a little care package there. And that's when I like really wailed it out. And my associate doctor, she just like caught me in that moment and held me as I cried. Cause it's just like, it hit you of the sense of like you were going to do something that felt really scary and you were going to put your body through something that felt very foreign and different. And you felt very disconnected from yourself and like, why am I broken? Like, why did this happen? Why that day? Why did I feel it and know it and not listen and do something about it? Why did I miss the exit for the gym? And you just are processing feeling like you're also then going to be violated in a sense. Like you're going to get cut into. You're going to have stitches in there. Like it's going to be different. It's never going to be the same again. And it was just wrestling with those really weird emotions because even at the same time, there was like so much freaking gratitude for the fact that one, I have people in this community that I can trust to do this. Two, I have the financial means and resources to even be able to get surgery and like have that be a part of the process. And my husband has insurance benefits and we can do that. And then like three, that we know people that are going to care for us through the process and all the outpouring of support and like the advances in the medical system. And like my friends that had repairs had them 3 to 5 years ago and like how many different advances there are now compared to then. And that it was this time that it happened to me. And it's like you have gratitude, but you're also nervous. And then you also feel like sick to your stomach about it. And I remember going in on Friday morning and you're signing consent forms before you go. And I had really just tried to like center with myself and like just be prepared for the process. And I'll never forget, one of the consent forms literally says like, the nurse was saying, like, sign this here. This is if, like there's extra tissue and stuff like that we can dispose of like your extra tissues and body fluid, like stuff like that. And that was like, yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? Like give me a bag of like extra skin that they had to cut off of the incision because of like it not being even and they want to stitch it evenly, right? Or like they put stuff in and I'm bleeding and so they're like putting in gauze to like help stop that and stuff. Am I going to keep my extra tissue? But it's like you're signing this saying like, yeah, they're going to have like a tray of like just pieces of Marisa cut off from her body. And then they get to dispose of it somewhere. It just gets put in like a hazardous material bodily things bin or something, and you're just like sitting there like you're gonna have no freaking clue what the hell is going on. All you have is blind faith and trust that the people that you're gonna put your life and your body in the hands of are gonna care for it, nurture it, help it, and that then you're gonna come through on the other side. And like, what an incredible thing that we have anesthesia and like nerve blocks that I didn't have to feel immediate pain post-op and all of that. But it's also at the same time this just like weird thing. And I had sent you a Marco Polo 1111 Thursday night, and it was just word vomiting out exactly what I word vomited about feeling broken and why and how. And I find it so interesting because at our Heartwork conference, that was like a takeaway for me from one of the evenings was like seeing two different broken butterflies and seeing how even without one of each of their wings in different parts of their body, they still flew, they still participated in the ecosystem, they still contributed to the farm. And it was like just all this signs and like combination of things coming too. And I came out of surgery and everything was a blur the rest of that night. But everyone was so kind there. Even I had a nurse that was there that day that wasn't actually my nurse, but I had known her just from things in the community and one of my team members, and the fact that I like had someone that I knew that was familiar there. And then they wheeled me to OR3, and like 3 is one of our family lucky numbers because we're 3 sisters all born 3 years and 3 months apart. So like we all have 333 necklaces, and like just like these little things that also told you that you were safe at the same time that you felt so unsure of what was going to happen. And it's not like it was open heart surgery for 4 hours. You're talking like a 60-minute procedure, right? With open, repair, and close. Like it is not a big deal in the scheme of things, but for that individual, it can be a really big deal. And it was just wild. And then, yeah, the next day, like the nerve block started to wear off, and you just get these very weird sensations in your leg and your foot, and these like wake up pains and just different things. And Sunday came along, and we rested and I iced and elevated and did the whole thing. I couldn't see my foot. It was wrapped up in giant ace bandages and whatnot. And then Monday I had my PT appointment, and he changed the dressing, and I got to see like there's just a straight line and there's like 10 or 12 stitches just running down the back of that ankle. And you're looking at it and you're like, hi, Frankenstein, like where did you come from? Like, is this my foot? And then even now, like even this morning, we were talking and I was like having a panic attack because I took a shower this morning finally, and I was sitting in a chair trying to keep my foot out from getting wet, and I'm seeing my toes are blue, and I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Because there's just like so much. And I texted my PT. I was like texting you, I had to cancel class. I was supposed to coach. I don't know why I even thought I could coach. I'm not going to be a very good coach right now. I can't even do anything but sit on a bench. But I was just like, oh, I'm just going to be there. Like, it'll be just great. Like some sense of normalcy. But I'm not going to give anyone a good quality service right now. And so I'm like looking at these toes like, bro, are you okay? Because like you can't even like they're still kind of numb and tingly, and you really just can't like feel them. And it's all just because of the swelling and everything. And I know normal versus not normal, but I do not know like post-op normal versus post-op not normal, right? Like it's a little bit of a different ball game. And I also forget sometimes that I'm literally just a week out of surgery because I went to the office for at least 3 hours every day this week. And I either sat in the chair and kept my leg up or did some paperwork or recorded a couple of videos. And I didn't have to do anything really like mind tasking that was super intense. Like I kept the work light, but I did notice like I would be fatigued mentally so fast. Like even Monday and Tuesday, I still just felt so loopy. I'm not taking any of the opioid pain meds, which is great. Like I don't feel the need to. I'm managing it with the other concoctions that they'd given me, which is great. But you just like, you're so mentally fatigued. And then there's this back and forth of like, man, like your leg starts getting smaller because you're not using it. And so like I want to do some like glute lifts. I want to do some like leg lifts. I want to do some clamshells and stuff. And then I'm like, I should do some like, well, I can maybe like work and do some like dumbbell presses or something like with my body. And then in my brain, I'm like, why are you thinking about that? 1. 2, if you do those things, if you tear muscle fibers in other parts of your body, because that's what happens when you exercise, like you're tearing the fibers down so that they can build back up stronger. Like you're wanting to repair that area with weight, like you're literally taking away such vital energy and capacity that's meant to be healing your left Achilles right now, but you're just trying to focus on doing your dumbbell curls and getting your biceps swole? Like, you need to get your Achilles fucking fixed, girl. You're on crutches right now. You can't work. You can't do shit. You barely can work, like, at the office without getting brain fatigue and fog. Like, what are you doing? And so, I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, but I, like, played with stickers, and I just watched a little TV, and I read a little bit of a book, and I remember last weekend, you were like, "What are you gonna do with some of this extra time? Like, how are you gonna rest?" And I was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna catch up on, like, some master classes and, like, other things that I haven't been able to do, blah, blah." She's like, "Okay." Like, I'd be out, like, reading or watching nothing.
I LOL'd when you said that to me. I was like, "Alright, we'll see."
We'll see. Literally. And so I'm playing with stickers and I'm coloring, and I woke up Tuesday morning and I felt so fucking good. You know why? Because I didn't do shit. And so then Tuesday morning, I'm like, I have so much energy. Like, I'm going to take a little morning and then I'm going to go to the office and I'll prep team training, and then we can do team training, and then I'll just leave after team training. I was fucking toast Tuesday night. Because again, you rest so you have energy, so that your energy helps heal your body. But if you take that energy to go try and be productive in your day and like do things that maybe it's like 3 days, 4 days post-op that you don't need to be doing, you are taking away from that. So then you're going to get tired at night, need to rest more the next day just so that you can try and be a little productive on Thursday. Like, what is this yo-yo cycle? And I'm like consciously knowing this and literally living it in real time. Like, today is Friday that we are recording this. But I still sometimes like catch myself. One thing I've learned is that I really don't know how to sit it down, and I'll rest, but I still have this part of me that like wants to be productive in the rest. And it's wrestling a little bit with this like guilt of, well, I have been given this time. What I've been asking for time. I didn't ask for it in this way, but this was how it was given to me. What can I do with the time that I have? What can I do with the time that I have? And it's like, that wasn't the freaking point. And if you try and do with the time that you have, you can 1, delay your process, 2, re-injure yourself, 3, like not go back to work in the way that you want to. And even my team canceled a day because Dr. C is going to be out of town. And I was like, well, just spread out the patient load. Like, I'll be able to figure it out. And they're like, no. Your doc said like 2 weeks that you were not going to be able to do like a thing. That's still within the 2-week period. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you're right. Love you. I'm mad at the same time, but I'm mad at myself, but also like not, like you're in this like push-pull of trying to act like you can still do things. I was in the shower today, like so excited to like just go and sit at the CrossFit gym. And then I had to text my coach bosses like 45 minutes ahead of time. Like, I'm so sorry guys. Like, I'm dealing with like a foot that's turning blue. I don't know if it's normal or not. I'm probably not even a good coach right now. Like, I shouldn't even coach for the rest of October for the foreseeable future in this moment. But like, you think and you hope because you have some moments of clarity or some moments of extra energy that you can go do it. But is that actually what your body really needs?
I, as somebody that's on the outside of this watching you, I just kinda smirk a little bit. On the side of, like, for one, because I also have been there in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I was thinking back to when I hurt myself when I was in practice, and you beat me a little bit on the year. I mean, obviously, you had Ultim,
Yeah.
but now you have obviously Homestead now, but, like, you've just celebrated 2 years pretty much, like 2 almost technically almost 3 years, but,
Yeah.
I had a big season of this as well when I was right before I hit 2 years into practice of owning freedom, and, it was a huge like, I hurt myself, sprained my ankle really bad, didn't have to have surgery, thankfully. I've had plenty of surgery in my life, so I think the universe gave me the option where I didn't have to have surgery, but I still hurt myself. So, but
Thank
I
you,
hurt
universe.
myself, and then it was this. Yes, thank you, universe, 100%. and, hurt my ankle on my birthday in 2017, 2 years into practice, just me solo adjusting, riding around on a scooter trying to adjust people, but didn't stop. That was the period of time where I literally just kept going because I could, and I had interns at the time. Thankfully, Dr. Bridget was actually an intern of mine, and they helped me adjust a little bit, but I didn't stop. And then come October, so this is August, October, this literally, I think about if, like, I was on something, it would be one of those viral videos that you see on Instagram where people make falls, so they really hurt themselves, but you laugh tremendously because it hurts so bad that you laugh, like, it's, like, just ridiculous. But I was in Disney World and was running back to go get an integrator to adjust a team member of mine, and was sprinting, and I literally face planted, like, sprinting, and hit my knees, my wrist, my chin, but the main thing that took the impact was my knees, and both of them, and immediately they swelled. I eventually, like, within about 20 minutes, like, both my bursas, like, it felt like they ruptured. They didn't rupture, but they, like, obviously expanded and swelled up so bad. So I had to ride around Disney World in a scooter the rest of the weekend. It was just this wild thing, and I couldn't move. Like, when you're talking about swelling-wise, it's like, you can't get off your extremities unless you literally get off your extremities, and so I, again, had to, like, take a moment and be like, "Okay, God, what are you trying to speak to me about?" Because I keep hurting myself. Physically, I'm hurting myself because of the things that I'm doing in my life, and it's like it was a huge cue, and that's really honestly when a lot of the work started, when I really started to ask the question of why do I have to do so much for the productivity aspect of my life, and trying to get a result and trying to mother and caretake. It's really where a lot of it came, and we're not even talking about all the things that came for you over the Heartwork weekend, so it's like all of this aligned in such a profound way, and I actually was writing down as we were going, because I have lots of questions I think that I wanna just, like, dive into this, because I think this would be really brilliant for a lot of people, not only for you and I just to talk through, and also at the same time, like, what this looks like when we bump up against some of these things. Because when we come there, it's wild what, like you said, the turmoil that you can experience when you come up to a point where you physically can't
Mhm,
do or perform.
mhm.
And we may talk all day long. You and I, obviously, this is the Heartwork podcast. We talk all day long that we don't have it figured out, but we've done some of the work to where we understand some of this, right? And we're aware of it. But it doesn't always mean that we obviously are getting it perfectly correct either at the same time, because we're fucking human beings and, like, literally are living it day to day. And one of the things that I would love to talk about, just going back to the place of being, like, broken and violated. I also want to know, like, it was really interesting to hear you talk about as you were communicating, you were saying, like, I really am so grateful for the universe of, like, all the people, the lineup of all the things, and how you had the number 3, like, you have all these signs that it's all gonna obviously all work out for the good at the same time, right? But how easy is it for us to also justify the good when we are navigating the hard?
Mm,
And one of the things that I wrote down was, like, justification for the emotions and what was coming up for you versus just like, letting them just be what they are, versus always constantly looking for what the good is. And not saying that it's not a healthy thing to look for the good. I think that's a beautiful perspective at the same time. So I don't want you guys to, if you're hearing this, to, like, hear that it's not a healthy perspective to have that. However, I think so many times, because we have emotions, we get so scared of what those emotions are, what's coming up from them. We want to try to, like, get out of them, so we're looking for something else. I'm not saying that that's what you did, but it's really easy to sometimes then justify. It's like,
yeah,
well, all of this was also really beautiful, but at the end of the day, this all really fucking sucked, and I was having to navigate so much about myself and how I saw myself, like, this feeling of brokenness, this feeling of violation, like, this feeling of, like, I don't even know what they're gonna do to me in this freaking surgery room, and at the same time, obviously was going into ER3, like, all that type of stuff. So it's like, talk to me a little bit, or even just, like, we could just process it as we're working through it, but, like, what would you say for other people when those emotions come up, like that beautiful rhythm and understanding, like, those things are very real, and how can you let them still be there, even if there are still beautiful things that are still evidence that you have a beautiful life and that God is still taking care of you, but being okay with the emotions that come up when they do?
Yeah, I think that's where you can get into, like, I mean, there's just as much toxic negativity out there as there is toxic positivity, right? Like,
Yeah.
constantly shifting the negative under the rug to try and focus on finding the silver lining, to try and make yourself feel better about whatever shitty circumstance is happening. And it is a coping mechanism, right? Like, it can be
Yeah.
a coping mechanism to get you through it. How healthy or unhealthy that coping mechanism is gonna determine really truly, again, on the work that you're doing inside. Like, I talk to a lot of people about this when they are processing things. It's like your emotions are not mutually exclusive. Like, you can be grateful for something and also hate it at the same time. Like, I am
Mhm.
so grateful for my ability to be productive and to keep going in the face of resilience, but also sometimes I'm just like, why the fuck are you this way? Like, why are you this way? Um, and I think that it's also just hard when you're facing some of that stuff for, like, the first time, and
Mhm.
one of those first times for me, at least that are more relevant to my current state, was when truly during, like, 2020 times when Alex and I had broken up, neither one of us were budging on, like, where we were moving, what we were doing, and then COVID happened, and I couldn't be in my practice, and for the first time, I literally couldn't do shit, and I was also super unhappy. But I was also really grateful for all the work I had done to, like, build up a practice, and so it was like, I'm so happy to be in this practice and building what I'm building, and I love what I do every day, but also I'm miserable in my personal life and crying every single night to try and go to sleep with a teddy bear, and I'm, like, fucking 30 years old. Like, what's happening right
Mhm.
now? And that was the first time I had to learn about sitting in both of those emotions, because most of the time what I would do with emotions is just be like, "Okay, hi, I'm gonna wave at you over there, like, go sit down over there and just kinda chill, um, I'll deal with you never, and then, I'm just gonna go over here and, like, keep forging forward," and that was a time where I literally couldn't, and that was obviously such a profound time of my life, and we all know the story, and if you don't, go listen to some of the first episodes about, like, coming through that. And so here's
Oh, yeah.
another time where, I mean, not that there hasn't been, like, periods of hardship and then periods of grace in the last several years, but we didn't kind of alluded to it, but we didn't really get into the transformation of my team and myself in the Heartwork weekend of just, like, literally being told, literally being sat down unintentionally but intentionally by all 5 of your team members and told, like, you say that you are wanting to grow into more of your CEO role and you're setting us up to do that, but you're actually not letting go of the reins for it, and it's pissing us off. I mean, they didn't say that particularly, but that's kind of what they said was like, what the F? Because we feel like we're not living up to your expectations, that you don't trust us with it. We want to do well for you. You say that you're doing it. You're like, giving us some of the things, but you haven't actually, like, let go of the other side fully. So, like, can you
Mhm.
not, essentially? And it was way more in depth and way more emotional, essentially, than that, and it came with specific examples from some of my team members too, and being on the receiving end of that, it can be really challenging to be processing your own shit because you're being told these things, and so, like, that's obviously pulling up old wounds in me. While I also am thinking, like, there is a much more tactful way for this to be done. There's, like, a different way that this could have been said or that this could have been, like, approached in the situation, and also why did this wait a month to be told? And, like, you're trying to, like, because of the work that we do, I'm like, at the same time that I'm trying to process my own shit while not getting defensive, while also not then critiquing and coaching them on how they should approach me with it as an employee to a boss, because then that would consider to be more criticism because I'm just trying to coach them through, like, learning their voice and owning their hearts and sharing their things, but I just need to shut the fuck up because they're literally doing that in this moment. I don't need to coach them through it. This is organically just happening, while also trying to figure out, because the other part of my brain is like, how do I solve this? And how do I make this better? And how do I fix this literally right now in this moment? Is it all crumbling down? Is it all gonna fade away? Like, are they all gonna leave? Like, are we all good? Are we still cool? Like, is it okay? And then it's fine and it's all good. But you're like in this place of then working through navigating the personal emotions of another human being or 5 other human beings, and then navigating your own and having to stay in that leadership role while you're doing that. And then, I mean, we addressed it that next week, but essentially the team had a discussion with me about letting go of the reins and letting it ride and letting them take the responsibility that I have told them that I give them, and I've told them that I trust them with it, but my actions represented something differently, and were, in my brain, a way to continue to help let them know that I was there to support them, but they received it as too much. I don't necessarily think it really was like micromanagey, but that's how I have initially interpreted it. But as I've kind of worked through some of it, really just more of a mothering side of things to them, like checking in on them, not to micromanage because I don't really do that, but just like being like, "Are you good? Do you need this reminder? Like, I'm just going to remind you of that so that because I know you've got a lot going on your plate. So like, I'm just going to stick this extra sticky note there, like remind you of this, blah, 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 blah." So literally it was that week. I mean, we had the Heartwork weekend, September 12th, 13th, 14th. We had a big one-on-one meeting and like conversation around like changing boundaries and like changing systems for, leadership and stuff in the office on the 16th. It was the 20th of September, 4 days later, that then I tore my Achilles. And now I'm literally being forced
Mhm.
to let go of the reins. And I think to
Mhm.
myself also, again, like that was such a hard fucking night and conversation. And I like cried in the airport the next morning. And I was like just processing the feelings around thinking that I was doing things really well and supporting my team, but it not being received in that way and having to like look in the mirror at what really I was doing and where that was coming from, but also like wanting them to look in their mirrors too of how they were showing up and just all the feelings around that. And then if I didn't have those moments and we didn't have those conversations then that were really healthy on Tuesday, and then this is the situation that happened, like this time, quote unquote, off for me, I would have been like super fucking mom of the sense of like, now I'm not here. Are you guys okay? Do you need me to do anything? Like, I'll just come to the office. I can sit at the front desk. Like, I'll be there. And they'll be like, there's a noose around our necks. Like, get the fuck out. Like, just go. Like,
Yeah.
we've got this. Because literally, what have I done the last freaking 3 years? I have poured into my team. I have built up my team. I have set them. I have helped train them. I have helped call them to like grow into their own unique abilities. I have hired an associate doctor. She was there and then she has the capacity to do it. And she's so amazing. And I have such incredible, individual, unique, beautiful human beings that are in the office, that are on mission for what we do, and that can care for it, even if I'm not there. And I don't have to be mommy boss Marisa checking in on all the things. That week, last week was so good. I was like, I'm not putting any like info action out there. I'm just riding in my lane. I'm just doing my CEO thing. It was great. And then this past week, even when I was there, I'm like, I'm not really here. I'm doing a video. I'm not even here. You have a question? I know you know the answer. Like, I'm not even here. Like, just I'm in it. And so, that's been really like weightlifting and light. And so, wow, a long tangent for your original answer, but essentially, essentially, there is a difference, I think, between shoving your emotions under the rug to only look at the silver lining versus understanding that you can feel 2 different ways at the same time and recognize both the yin and yang of each emotion, right? The yin and yang of feeling vulnerable and violated, knowing that like the negative or darker side of that emotion is that, yeah, like you are. You literally are. You're going to be knocked out. You're going to be naked except for your underwear. You're going to be face down on a table with a tube down your throat, leads on your body as the subject to multiple trained health professionals that are going to cut into your body, cut pieces off of you, put foreign objects into your body, screw holes into your freaking bones, turn your leg off, and then patch it together with some stitches, and then send you on your way to deal with healing. While the light part of that is you have the capacity to have this be fixed by a trained, licensed, professional, amazing individuals that then help you be as whole of a human being as you can continue to be. And then you go down the understanding of what actually makes you a whole human being. Is it an untouched body with no scars or no injuries or no problems? Or is being a whole human being more about the soul and more about the heart? Because there are a lot of fucking people out there that don't have an ankle to worry about repairing, or that have other issues that they feel that their body is broken. And you have shared about your own journey with your health stuff. And we can all feel broken for different physical reasons at different times. And so it's being able and okay to understand that there are two sides to that, probably more because we live in gray, not really black and white, but I'm doing this for the sake of simplicity of I can feel violated, yet also feel very grateful. I can feel pissed off that this happened and it slowed me down, while also recognizing that there is a gift in that. And I think that's where it comes down to the perspective of it and being able to sit in both, but not drown in either, right? Not drown in just always trying to find the grateful and minimize how shitty it feels because you're just, I can still drive, or I can still go sit at the office, or I'm not in enough pain that I don't need to drug myself out on opioids, or blah, 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 blah. So I truly think it's just, again, when you're feeling something new, that's the first time that you're going to learn and work through that, so that as other things may come up in life, the more you exercise that muscle of understanding emotion, the more you'll be able to work with it when it comes, if it comes again in the future. Just in the same way that I told a story or analogy about a broken butterfly and worked through that myself personally at Heartwork weekend. And here I am having these feelings around being broken as a physical body now. If I hadn't started those feelings then, would I have had the capacity to have worked through some of that now in the way that I have? So,
Yeah, I think the opportunity, when they come, I think the thing that I would just add to that, because you can, like you said, you can have both and 100%, and you can have, I think the perspective of both and is really a healthy one, especially as you become more aware of what your emotions are doing and where you're navigating. But I think sometimes it's really easy, like you said, it can be a toxic trait to just immediately go to the positivity side of it, or then also stay in the negativity aspect. So it's if and when, especially for those that are listening to this, that you're navigating this yourself, as much as I can encourage, if those things are coming up, they're there for a reason, and the one of our coach, I remember when I was going through this, he at one time just literally is is it okay for you just to be in the messy middle? And for you not to have a positive outlook with any of it, and to not feel grateful, and to just be in the hard with it. And are those emotions okay? And I had a really hard time with that, to be honest, because all I wanted to do was look at the positive, and I wanted to get myself out of the sludge of feeling the way that I felt. But the invitation came with me being okay in the sludge and feeling the way that I felt, and then knowing I was so loved there too, without me trying to control myself getting out of that feeling of all the emotions that were coming, and just trying to have a positive outlook on it.
Yeah.
And so for those that are like listening and just if you've navigated this yourself, like just to give yourself the grace that if those are there, like it's okay no matter what you're doing, because also that's just exactly where you are. That's the coolest part about this whole thing too, is like you can't change where you are. So don't try to manipulate it. And it's also okay if the more that you become healthier in it, you're going to be able to see the good and like the both and I should say. But there can be a season sometimes where you also just may feel like you're just in it, and like you're
Yeah.
just there, and it's also okay to just be in those feelings too, and I personally this was part of my journey. I had to become okay with that because I was the complete opposite because I was such a fucking doer too. And the only thing I was going to do was going to manipulate my way out of the scenario and not let myself feel the hard, or not let myself feel the feelings of the brokenness or the feeling like I was violated, because I've had all of my own stories of the brokenness and the violation at the same time. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting dance. Like it's definitely not one that is a clear cut for sure.
No.
And all you can do is just be present in where you're at for sure.
I think that was one of the things that was really beautiful about walking into the office on Thursday, already starting to feel the emotions come up. And then when I saw the flowers and the things that they had prepped for me and Dr. C was there, that I just started crying and she just held me. And it's like I stayed
Oh, yeah.
in that hug and cried and just let it cry
Oh, nice.
until I didn't have any more tear coming. And then I just sat, and it was Dr. C and I think Taylor was sitting there with me. And I was just sharing, like, I feel incredibly vulnerable. I feel incredibly in this place of like that I'm going to be violated, and not in a general sense. And so like if you're met with those emotions, can you allow them to run a course through you? Or are you
Right.
crying, someone hug you, and you're just like, "No, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good." Like, can you just be
Yeah.
and then share what is coming up? Or again, do you just stuff it down and then focus on like, I'm going to be in the best of hands, like it's going to be great.
Right. Gosh, this story I feel like is gonna be so relatable to so many people. And also the opportunity just to continue to, like, pull some of this out. So, like I was kinda saying, I have some more questions, and y'all, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a two-part. So, we're gonna invite you guys to come back next week. Thank you, Marisa, for literally sharing your heart and just this wild story that is your life right now, which I hate that this happened to you, while at the same time, I think it's wild how the universe can really present a gift at the same time. So y'all come back next week. We're going to dive in even more with some of the stuff that we are going to be working through for some of the questions. What are hearts really doing? You can navigate when it comes to why do we want to continue to do when we are being invited to rest? So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye!